Hi, I'm Adam Booth, the founding artistic director of Speak. In 2022, we've been celebrating our 10th anniversary, and we did so by inviting story artists from all around the world. In case you missed it, you can get a little glimpse into some of those tales by watching the rest of this video. And then I hope you'll join us in 2023 for our 11th season. That'll take place live, in person, at the Opera House in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. And we're going to be streaming concerts over the internet so that you can join us from pretty much anywhere in the world. You can find out more information at speakstoryseries.com. And now, enjoy some stories.
Brother Rabbit, work your charms. Keep this child away from harm. I ain't got time to kneel and pray, so don't you let me down today. Nothing left to old Brer Rabbit except this old left hind foot and this song. I got the left hind foot of a rabbit and things about coming my way. All you got to do is reach out and grab it, cause things.
Uncle Tito was the kind of man that had muscles on top of his muscles, and he loved to hug you, but the hugs weren't these gentle, beautiful hugs that Abuela would give us. They were these bear hugs. He was a boxer in Cuba. He would be crushing your ribs and boxing you on the back. Oye, papito Antonio, man. And getting punched out by my uncle. All of my Cuban family calls me Papito.
Wonderful aroma. And for the first time in her life, she thought, I wonder what the meat tastes like. And as soon as the thought entered her mind, she was ashamed. She was aghast. The audacity. How could she even think such a thing? But of course, once a seed is planted, it has to grow. And her curiosity grew and grew and grew and grew and grew until finally she couldn't resist anymore. She looked around and nobody was watching. And so she picked up her knife and she went towards the meat and whoosh, she cut off a tiny thin sliver and
those pieces began to come together in agua, in water, until it formed a clear, cool lake there stretched out right in front of that bruja madre. Now she had been running so fast, so fast, so fast, que no podía parar. She could not stop. She could not. She ran headlong into that cool, clear water of that lake. And when she did,
6 a.m. She got out of the bed. She did some calisthenics. 1, 2, 1, 2, hoop, hoop, hoop. She did her Pilates and then had a latte. Then afterwards, she put on her big floppy hat, her oversized sweater, some sunblock. Now to clean up the beach, maybe find some treasures after the storm.
All of a sudden, Granny turns around, points her finger at Barzil, who's walking along behind her, and says, "Oh, good God Almighty, Barzil, now I told you, you've got your lip plumb full of snuff." And Barzil never missed a second. She just leaned down, opened that pocketbook underneath her arm, kind of shuffled it off down her arm a little bit, opened up that pocketbook, leaned over, and spit straight down a brown stream into that pocketbook. Went to see my gal last night, the dress she wore was red. And every time I looked at her, I wish my wife was dead. Fly around, my pretty little miss, fly around.
When the judge woke up the next morning in Jack's spare bedroom, looking at that ugly wallpaper, he didn't know where he was at first. When he rolled over in the bed, he saw Annie laying right there beside him, and he said, "I said I was taking you back to your daddy." She said, "I remember what you told me. But you also told me that whatever there was at your house that gave me pleasure, I could bring with me. So I brought you." He said, "Come with me."
into the boat. And you so coraggio. Row, row, row your boat
And Oni took the little funny woman to his strange house. And
I can remember when I was just a really little boy, laying on the carpet in the living room of our house, right next to the stereo sound system, doing the same thing that all kids my age did in the 80s, waited right next to the radio with a blank cassette tape.
June, I want to thank you for your wisdom and your stoicism. It got me through a lot. But it's time for me to move on now. Well, if you think that's best, dear. But who's going to remind you to send those inspirational emails to your children? And how are you going to know how to fix the toilet? You know, if you don't jiggle the handle just right, it won't flush. Well, I'm just going to have to figure that out for myself. And, well, if I make some mistakes, then maybe my kids will know it's okay if they make some too.